Hey, what's up, everyone? It is Thursday morning. I did not do a Tuesday episode, which I've been trying to do weekly. Kind of tough to get that taken care of. I had a little test I had to take on Monday, which I didn't fare too well on, but my wife and I both took the test. She passed, and I didn't, but I'm going to take it again. So, well, part of life and part of failure, and getting back on the horse and doing it again. So, anyway, I've been analyzing a lot of stuff recently, and I wanted to talk to you about a couple things. If you haven't checked out my podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, or if you check out and you follow me on Facebook and you are watching those Facebook Live videos, awesome. If you haven't, check out my link in my bio wherever you're watching this. I'll also put it in the show notes of the podcast. A couple things. That podcast is, the live show is put on by one of my friends, Christian Hill at Aggressive. So that's, I always have to thank them for that, because they make that show the way it is. If you're interested in doing podcasts like that, hit me up. There's a link in live shows that always says, text West 2020 to that phone number. Hit that phone number up. They will help you get one of those set up. Also, if you are interested in working on, or if you have heard of the Super app, Life app, let me know. Hit me up. I'll put my email address in the show notes, and I can let you know a little bit more about that. It's a great app that you download the app, and then it has lots of discounts and coupons and things like that, and I'd be more than happy to explain that with you. Just let me know. Anyway, let's get into this. I wanted to talk to you about a quote. That's the first thing that I want to talk about a little bit here. It says, the most successful people in life are the ones who ask questions. They're always learning, they're always growing, they're always pushing. And that is a quote from Robert Kiyosaki, who is, if you haven't read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I highly suggest it. It's a great book. It talks a lot about how you can further yourself and your knowledge and be successful, and it just changes that mindset. And that's one of the things that's tough for me right now, is I'm kind of caught in between two worlds. I spent my whole life getting these degrees, well, not my whole life, because I've done a couple different things, but trying to find success. I'm almost 40, and I finally found something that makes me happy, and things that I want to do, and things that, push me to be the best me that I can be. And the whole idea, and that's what this book is about, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, if you haven't read it, is it talks about how there's two different dads. Robert has... he has a friend's dad who is an entrepreneurial type person, and then he has his real dad who is an education type person and who is kind of working for a living, right? And so the book talks a lot about how you want to work. You either want to work for your money or you want your money to work for you. And so that thing is we're always told that we need to go work for our money to buy these things, to have the things that we want, and that's what's going to make us happy. All these, things that we have. And you sit back and you look at it, and you think about that. Do all those things make you happy, or are you just trying to keep up with the Joneses? Or are you trying to find some way to make a residual income that will help you and keep you? And so I've made this switch in my mind, and one of the things that has helped me quite a bit is talking to someone who has that entrepreneurial background and how they think about those things. I never really thought that way. I always thought, hey, I'm going to go work for someone. I'm going to do the best work that I can do. I'm going to make money that I can have, and I'm going to buy the things that I want. And my hard work in that company or for that person will make things better for me and for everyone else, right? And so I've spent the first 11 years that I was doing that, working at a company that was really great. They paid you really well. They compensated you really well, thinking about all the things that I wanted, and then realized that they're not what I want. I wasn't happy. I was making lots of money and I was buying the things that I wanted, but it wasn't what made me happy. So, I originally, then I turned around, I went back, and I'm like, hey, okay, so I want to coach, I want to teach, I want to help people be successful. I want to help kids be successful, because that's what pushed me to be the person that I am. And so I went and I did that, and found that there is so many parameters of things, and there's no open-mindedness in this education system. It's like you got to go down this path, and there's only one path for everyone, and that path leads directly to college, directly to getting degrees, directly using that to make you. So it's kind of interesting how that played out, because if you really think about it, if you read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you'll see that is the mentality that we give people. To put them in this box, we tell them that the only way that you're going to be successful is to go to college, right? And to get degrees. And come to find out, this switch, that's this fight that's in my head that I'm talking about, is between those two things. It's like, okay, education, money, successfulness, happiness, right? And then I see this other side, that being your own boss, making your own money, making your own decisions, and working hard, but getting something out of it that reflects directly on you versus, giving someone else something in return. And so that's kind of the switch that's in my mind right now. And, I ran into a lot of great people. One of the things that I'd highly suggest is that you find a mentor, someone who does the job that you want, or does something similar to what you want, and follow them and copy them and do that, because that's where you're going to become the expert. The expert isn't someone who has a bunch of degrees. Now, do those degrees help you? I got 2 sitting on the wall over there. Yes, they do help you. All right. I'm not going to lie. Is it necessary, though, to go spend 8 years in college, 12 years in college to be a doctor, things like that? Like, you obviously have to have that license if you're going to go into some sort of field that requires you to have it. Education required me to have degrees to be a teacher, right? Being a doctor requires you to have those degrees because you're certified in that situation. But if you want to go on the entrepreneurial side and you want to build something on your own, you don't necessarily have to do that. What you need to do is you need to educate yourself, and you need to figure out how to educate yourself enough in order to make that happen. And one of the ways that you can do that is to find someone who does what you want to do. And I guarantee you there's a million books on it. And that's all I've been doing lately, is reading books. It's weird because, like I've said before, in college, I didn't read that much. I mean, I use a lot of my background knowledge. I have a lot of things that have happened to me that I relate to and I use. And you'll see those in all those videos and those podcasts and the people that I talk to. I relate what I do to life. And that's kind of how my life has been. One of the things that you'll know that I haven't said about me is that I got a master's degree all online, and the majority of that was writing papers. I never had a test. I was really good at writing papers, really good at doing projects and things like that. And so I ended up with this awesome degree that helped me to do those things, but I got it by writing papers. So now when I'm trying to go take a test for this thing, it's tough for me to take a test. I've always been not very good at test taking. Now I'm making the switch in my mind to be a more positive person and try to push that to happen. And it's become the switch. So, I take the test the first time, I've got a score of 75, I got a 51. So I studied twice as hard the next time and I got a 63. I still got to get a 75. So once I failed that test, I immediately went back in and rescheduled again because I'm going to pass it. Unfortunately, I got to wait a little bit longer than I want to make that happen. But, here it is. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep pushing. And so you have to be willing to do that. You have to be willing to always be learning, always be growing, always be pushing, because if you don't, then that's it, right? And the choice is yours. It really is. You can spend a ton of time analyzing what works, what's going to make it better, what's going to happen. How can you, it's just like making a purchase, all right? I just bought a new pellet smoker, okay? Normally, I would just go and buy something. I would just go straight to it and go buy it. And I bought one the last time, and it's been a good one. It's a good entry-level smoker, right? But then now I'm like, hey, I need something that's better, because now I know the differences between all the things and all the stuff that the products have brought to you. So now I'm doing research on one, right? And I sat there and I researched for like 2-3 days. I could have sat there and researched more and more and more and never made or pulled the trigger. And so I started talking to people. You start talking to experts who smoke meat, who barbecue on a daily basis, and what's this and what's that. And you start figuring those things out, and then you make the purchase. Well, it took me 2 days. I could spend months analyzing that and never pull the trigger. It's just like anything in life. You can sit there and you can analyze whatever you want forever. But even though you know you want to do it and you want to push it and you want to push for it, you won't do it because you're afraid that what's going to happen if I do. So I bought that, right? I made the purchase. I did it. Best choice I ever made. I picked out the best one for me. I ordered it and it's on its way. That's just a barbecue, right? But beyond your life and in general, you can sit there and you can be on the fence about whatever it is you're doing. Whatever it is, okay? You want to go back to school and get a degree, more power to you. Be the expert, figure that out, go do the work. Okay. You can do that. That choice is yours. Or you can just sit there and hang out and be unhappy in what you're doing your whole life. So that's what I'm talking about, finding a mentor. Find someone who pushes you. And the funny thing is we live in this world where right now we're in COVID. We've got all this stuff going on. These online businesses are the ones that are really pushing, because guess what? Whoever put their money in Zoom, I had a customer who put some money in Zoom as soon as this whole thing went down. He like doubled his money in the stock market on Zoom, because what are people doing? And if you think that that's going to change, if you really think that that's going to change, I don't think it is. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that we go back to the old way of doing things. But in reality, people are finding out how easy it is to sit there and order food on their way on their phone and get it delivered to their home. I can call Costco. I can get on Costco online and have them deliver me something. And if it's that easy, then why wouldn't they do it? Why wouldn't they continue to do it? You know, things aren't changing. It's going to continue going that way. You can sit there and you can fight it your whole life, but if you don't make that push towards what you want to do, it's never going to happen. And that's the big thing. That's one of the things that you really have to look at. So if you're analyzing something, think about how long you've been analyzing it. Think about how long you have not been putting one foot in front of the other and not doing what you're doing. I've been doing this for almost a year now, getting on here, doing videos, pushing things like that, starting a podcast, trying to find that. And that's kind of the entrepreneurial way. Not every single person who's made a lot of money or has found their success or done anything has just automatically got it. They've gone through a bunch of different things, had a bunch of different failures, but continued to push through it. And that's what you need to do. You need to get out there. You need to be willing to put yourself out there, find what it is, and become the expert. One of the best ways to do that is to find a mentor. Find someone who is willing to tell you what they did. And I'm obviously young in this, but I have a mentor, and the funny thing about it is he's a little bit younger than me. He's actually a lot younger than me, almost 20 years younger than me, more than 20 years younger than me. And he's one of the people who has pushed me to really think outside the box. And those are the people who are innovative. Those are the people who make a difference. So that's what you got to do. You got to create your own success. You got to figure out what it is that you really want. And maybe you're okay with the Poor Dad mentality in the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. And you look at Poor Dad as like a negative thing. It's not really a negative thing, but there are people in this world who are going to just do what they have to do to get by because that's what makes them happy, right? And then there's the other people that are going to go and push outside the box and realize that there's a lot of things that you can do to make your situation better, okay? So to make your situation better, what can you do? And that's really what it's about. However you deem that success, however you decide that that's what you want, it's up to you. You figure out what it is, and if it is the Poor Dad mentality, then do it. If it's the Rich Dad mentality, then do it. The choice is yours, but don't blame other people. And the biggest thing that I see is people who are insecure will push you to do something that they don't think is right. If you haven't been on TikTok, there's a guy named Joshua Colburn that I've been listening to a lot, and I tried to get him on the podcast. He said maybe sometime, which is fine. I'm gonna keep pushing. But he stands in this background and he's got this piece of paper and he holds it up and he's got something written on it, and then it's just jamming out to heavy metal music, and it's so awesome. The dude is covered in tattoos. He's got beard. He's written 2 or 3 books, and he's just doing what he loves to do. He's doing the things that make him happy, and he's a motivational speaker. And so one of the things that he said was, you don't have to please other people. And I've heard that millions of times, but just that was what hit me this morning. It's like, you don't have to please other people. You have to please you. You have to do what you want. And so people who judge you or hate on you or tell you what you're doing is not wrong, is the majority of the time is because they are insecure in the fact that they have to do something in order to, or they're not willing to do what you have to do. They're not willing to get through that insecurity and push through that. And so when people sit there and they judge you based on what you're doing, they're always trying, they're insecure. They're afraid to do it. They don't think that you should do it. And that's the tough part. You have to be willing to get past what other people are telling you to do, other people's judgment, and push and get past that. So take that step. If you're thinking about it, just do it. It's the toughest thing that you can ever do, is to take that step and change your story and go down that path that you want to. So anyway, those are just my thoughts today. I hope that this finds you in a good place. If you have any questions, hit me up. I'll leave my email address in the show notes. If you're interested in anything that has to do with me, I got a mailing list or a weekly newsletter that I'm trying to get people to sign up for. If you're looking for mentorship, I'm willing to talk to you, sit down, have coffee, whatever you want to do, and chat about what I'm doing. But really what it is just getting out there and doing it yourself, and not worrying about what other people do, and get past that insecurity. Okay, so create your own success. Okay, I'm going to leave you with another Robert Kiyosaki quote, because I think that it's a great one. It's easier to stand on the sidelines, criticize, and say why you shouldn't do something. The sidelines are crowded. Get in the game. So think about that on your day. The sidelines are crowded with criticism. So get in the game. It's better to be in the game than watch from the sideline. Have a great day. We'll talk to you later.